Mastering red wine, Pinot Noir in depth. If Cabernet Sauvignon is the king of red grapes, Pinot Noir is often called the heartbreaker. It's one of the oldest, most cherished, and most difficult grapes to grow. Pinot Noir is elegant, expressive, and subtle, yet it challenges winemakers with its thin skin and sensitivity to climate. For wine lovers, it delivers some of the most hauntingly beautiful wines in the world. Let's explore Pinot Noir in depth, its history, its flavors, and how to recognize it in your glass. Pinot Noir has ancient roots. It's been cultivated in France's Burgundy region for more than 1,000 years, long before modern viticulture. The grape's name itself comes from the French words for pine and black, describing its tightly clustered, dark grapes that resemble pine cones. Burgundy remains the spiritual home of Pinot Noir, producing legendary wines from villages like Gevrey-Chamberin, Vosne-Romanée, and Chambol-Musigny. These wines are complex, long-lived, and often very expensive. But Pinot Noir isn't just about Burgundy anymore. Today, it thrives in cooler regions across the globe: Oregon's Willamette Valley, California's Sonoma Coast, and Santa Barbara, New Zealand's Central Otago, and Germany's Baden and Pfalz regions. Each area brings a unique expression of the grape, from earthy and restrained to fruity and vibrant. In the glass, Pinot Noir is usually light to medium in color, often translucent ruby. Unlike the deep, opaque tones of Cabernet Sauvignon or Syrah, Pinot lets light shine through. This lighter appearance sometimes tricks beginners into thinking the wine will be weak, but don't be fooled. Pinot Noir is delicate but deeply complex. On the nose, Pinot Noir reveals a spectrum of aromas. Classic notes include red fruits like cherry, raspberry, and strawberry. These are often joined by floral tones of rose or violet. Earthy notes are also a hallmark: mushroom, forest floor, or even truffle. With oak aging, you may find subtle spice, vanilla, or smoke. As Pinot matures, it develops secondary aromas of leather, dried herbs, and gamey richness. On the palate, Pinot Noir is defined by elegance. It usually has light to medium body, with soft, silky tannins and lively acidity. The fruit is bright, leaning toward red berries rather than dark fruits. The finish is often long but graceful, leaving subtle impressions rather than bold statements. Compared to Cabernet Sauvignon, Pinot is more about finesse than power. Let's compare Old World and New World styles. Old World Pinot Noir, particularly from Burgundy, emphasizes earth and minerality. The fruit is often subtle, woven with notes of soil, mushrooms, and savory herbs. These wines can age beautifully, gaining layers of complexity over decades. They are wines of restraint and nuance, meant to be contemplated as much as consumed. New World Pinot Noir, from places like California or New Zealand, tends to be riper and fruitier. Bright cherry, raspberry, and even cranberry jump from the glass. Oak influence is often stronger, adding vanilla and spice. These wines are more approachable in their youth, with a rounder, juicier style. Oregon often falls in between, earthier than California, but with more fruit than Burgundy. Food pairing is where Pinot Noir shines. Its bright acidity and moderate body make it one of the most versatile food wines. The classic pairing is roast duck, where the wine's fruit complements the richness of the meat. Salmon is another favorite, especially with lighter, fruit-driven Pinots. Mushroom risotto, roasted chicken, and pork tenderloin also pair beautifully. Even vegetarian dishes like lentils, beetroot, or truffle pasta can match Pinot's earthy elegance. What you want to avoid are very heavy or spicy foods, which can overwhelm its delicate flavors. Spotting Pinot Noir in a blind tasting takes practice, but gets easier once you know the clues. Look for light color, bright red fruit, high acidity, and soft tannins. If you smell mushroom, damp earth, or rose petals, Pinot is a strong contender. Compared to Gamay, which is also light-bodied, Pinot often has more earthiness and complexity. Compared to Nebbiolo, Pinot has less tannin and more softness. Pinot Noir is also one of the few red grapes used to make sparkling wine, particularly champagne. Blanc de Noir champagne, meaning white from black, is made from Pinot Noir and sometimes Pinot Meunier. In this style, Pinot contributes richness and subtle red fruit character to the bubbles. Why do wine lovers adore Pinot Noir so much? Part of it is the challenge. Pinot is notoriously difficult to cultivate. Thin-skinned and sensitive, it thrives only in cooler climates and can be ruined by too much heat or rain. This fragility makes great Pinot relatively rare and therefore highly sought after. When you find a bottle that captures the grape's true essence, the experience can be magical: delicate aromas, complex flavors, and a silky texture that lingers. Pinot Noir is not about boldness or intensity. It's about nuance. It whispers instead of shouting, and for many drinkers, that whisper is more captivating than a roar. It asks you to slow down, pay attention, and notice the subtleties. That's why sommeliers often say Pinot Noir teaches patience and humility. So the next time you pour a glass of Pinot Noir, take a moment to appreciate its elegance. Notice the ruby hue. Inhale the red fruit and earth. Savor the silky tannins and bright acidity. Reflect on how it feels more like a dance than a march, graceful, light on its feet, but deeply expressive. Pinot Noir may be a heartbreaker for winemakers, but for drinkers, it's pure poetry in a glass.